Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm just gonna be honest and say that the last few weeks have been really rough. Trigger warning, we're gonna be talking about eating disorders and specific eating disorder behaviors, as well as weight loss. So if that's something that triggers you, just don't watch this video. And if you need help, if you're struggling with an eating disorder, please reach out to a therapist, a medical professional, and a dietitian if you're able to do so. Oh, where to even begin with this saga, but I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. A few weeks ago, I was visiting home and my mom pulled me aside and she said, Kristi, I am getting worried about you because it looks like you've been losing weight. I kind of shrugged it off and I said, it's fine. I haven't been trying to lose weight. And she kind of let it go. But as I thought about it, I realized that what I'd said had only been partially true. I certainly wasn't trying to lose weight, but I also wasn't being really proactive to make sure that I was eating a calorie sufficient diet. And even though I didn't know what I weighed at the time because I had stopped weighing myself, I did know that I was losing weight just because of the way that my clothes started to fit me. Around this time, I filmed the What I Eat in a Day in Treatment, so following my old treatment plan. Now, what I mentioned in that video is that the process of planning that meal plan, that day of eating, really stressed me out. I felt like I was eating a lot of food. And I also mentioned that one of the downsides of this strict meal plan was that it's easy to count calories. What I didn't mention in that video though is that I did end up going back and actually counting all the calories that I consumed that day. I'm not gonna say what that number was, but I do remember thinking that it was a lot lower than I thought it would be. And this was a little bit of a wake-up call for me because this whole day I had been stressed thinking that I was eating so much food, and the reality is I wasn't eating that much food. I wasn't eating near as much as I thought I was eating. A number of you pointed this out in the comments to me, so I do appreciate that because you're not wrong. It was a bit of a wake-up call because I realized that my normal food intake was clearly not enough when that day, which was totally normal, right? Even just calorie-wise, had stressed me out so much. It really went to show how I had been falling back into old restrictive habits without even realizing it. Around this time, I also got sick with a stomach bug and spent a whole night throwing up and the next couple of days really nauseous, and so it was hard for me to eat a normal amount of food and keep food down. And I'm certainly not proud of this, but after that time of being sick and having the stomach bug, I actually ended up weighing myself like a day later. The number that I saw on the scale was lower than I'd seen in a long time. I had a lot of emotions about it. Part of me felt fear of, oh my goodness, it was so easy for me to get back to that number. Like, that's kind of scary how quickly I've fallen back into old habits. As sick as this is, I felt a little bit of pride and joy that I was losing weight, and that eating disorder voice took over and I started intentionally restricting for the first time in quite some time. This didn't go on for very long before I started feeling the very real side effects of not eating. I was weak, exhausted, unhappy, I was irritable, I would feel like passing out. I could tell that my hormonal acne was starting to come back, and this was just after a few days. Not too long after I seriously started restricting, I had probably the worst binge I've had in a really long time. And after the binge, I was sitting on my couch and I ended up just lying on my couch the entire afternoon because I was so physically uncomfortable from all the food that I'd eaten, and I was just also so unhappy and depressed at what had been going on. I was frustrated at myself for falling back into a binge. But as frustrating as that binge was also a wake-up call for me because usually when I binge, it's after a period of restricting and it's a sign that my body isn't getting enough food. And the binge is just my body's natural reaction to having a limited caloric intake. So I was depressed for about a day and just unhappy with where I was at. But I made the decision to get back on the recovery train and really focus on making sure that I was getting enough food. Not only going back to my pre-restrictive behaviors, like the unintentionally restrictive behaviors, but really making an effort to make sure that not only was I having large enough meals, but that I was eating snacks and making sure that I have at least 1 or 2 snacks in a day. That is something that I'm really struggling with, but I time working on it. I've also stopped weighing myself because weighing myself did kind of throw me back into that really bad cycle. I guess I wanted to say this because I want this channel to be authentic and honest. And honestly, there are just some really hard times in recovery, and this was a bit of a relapse, and I'm glad that I'm back on track, or however you want to say it. Like, I'm trying to get back on track, but it's certainly not always easy, and I definitely still have a long way to go. And I feel like this is kind of ironic because part of the reason I'm making this video is to announce that I've been working on a really cool project that I'm excited about. It's kind of weird saying that I'm announcing like a project or a product because I feel like that's what the professionals do, and I am anything but a professional, but I have been working on an eating disorder recovery workbook slash journal slash planner. I'll put a link in the description. And basically this recovery workbook includes activities to do when you're triggered. It includes a holiday survival guide since we're coming up to the holidays. It includes a number of affirmations, journal prompts, a daily planner, a place to write your recovery goals and challenges. I've tried to put together everything that has been helpful for me over the years into this planner journal workbook that is now available for you. Even though I'm really excited to be launching this product, I'm almost a little disheartened that it's coming after this period of struggle. You know, I wish I was a better example. I wish that I had my life completely together. So I cannot promise that this workbook is going to solve all your problems or cure your eating disorder. This channel certainly isn't going to solve your problems or cure your eating disorder either. But what I can promise is that all the content that I create on this channel and this workbook is authentic and real and honest, and it's stuff that has worked for me and that continues to work for me when I am proactive about pursuing my recovery. If you're struggling, just know that you're certainly not alone. And if you do want to check out the workbook, I'll put a link in the description. I think it's really cool. I'm obviously biased. Only check it out if you want to, but I'll put a link in the description. Thank you for making it to the end of this video. Guys, I know we're coming up on the holidays. This is a really stressful time of year. I am rooting for you. I am wishing you all the best, and I love you guys. You've got this, and I'll see you in my next video.